But several thousand miles from here, the people of Nepal are suffering after one of the worst earthquakes in years, and aid for Nepal is coming from all over the world. Israel sent more than 250 military rescue and medical personnel to help the country in the wake of the worst earthquake to hit the country in 80 years. The Israeli search and rescue team, including dogs trained to locate survivors under the rubble of collapsed buildings. The Israeli military's field hospital will be able to treat at least 200 patients a day. It's equipped with about 95 tons of humanitarian medical supplies from Israel, along with a staff of 122 doctors, nurses, and paramedics. It also includes emergency and operating rooms and pediatric neonatal departments. The Jewish state has one of the top disaster relief teams in the world. Joining me to talk more about the situation in Nepal and Israel's response to it is Julie Stahl. Julie, how do you explain Israel's response to natural disasters like what happened in Nepal?
Well, you know, Chris, Israel is very generous. They're very willing to give. They're very experienced in disaster relief, also from their war experience here and other things. So they give what they have. As we noted that they've sent by far the more people, more manpower, more doctors and nurses than any other country.
That's an amazing statistic. Israel's one of the smallest nations in the world, yet sent most of the rescue personnel in the world. Is this all part of Tikkun Olam, fixing the world, trying to help people in need?
It's part of the Jewish spirit, part of the generous spirit, part of trying to help your fellow man and make things better, and that's definitely what Israel's doing.
And there were a lot of people, a lot of Israelis in Nepal when this happened, and yet they responded with Haiti when there was just a few years ago when there's hardly any Israelis there.
That's true. I mean, Israel didn't need to send a field hospital to Nepal in order to rescue Israelis from a trekking trail. So, you know, the people that have said that, oh, well, it's just because Israelis were there, it's not really true, because the field hospital is still there and they're only missing one Israeli.
Now, switching gears just a bit, politically here, things are sort of in limbo. The election happened several weeks ago. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to form a coalition. Can you explain exactly where that's at right now?
Well, he is trying to form a coalition. He won a quarter of the seats in the Knesset, which is great, but it's not enough to have a government. So he has to cobble together enough parties. He's on the way to doing that. I think all the parties have kind of made their demands, and it's a question of which parties he can talk into or out of their demands to join him in a government.
How would you explain this to a U.S. audience? You know, when the election is over there, the election is over, but now when the election's over, there's a lot of things happening. And what are some of the demands that some of these parties make on Netanyahu?
That's true. In the States, when the election's over, everybody breathes a sigh of relief or whatever. They get on with business. Here, they have to form their government, and that's when the wheeling and dealing starts. That's when things can get complicated. There are two parties. One of them that will probably join the government is demanding that Netanyahu make a strategic decision to remove Hamas from power in the Gaza Strip. Another party is demanding that Netanyahu promise not to halt settlement construction in what the rest of the world calls the West Bank, Judea and Samaria. So those kind of things also are figuring in. It's not just who's the health ministry or the interior ministry or whatever. Those kind of demands are also on the table.
Well, it's a fascinating political drama to go ahead and see unfold, and thanks for your expertise about Nepal and the government, and we'll see what happens.